An entire data lakehouse can be put under Agile management if you decompose it into meaningful subcomponents that can be deployed individually. Agile Cloud Manager makes it easy to put a data lakehouse under Agile management because Agile Cloud Manager makes it easy for you to deploy subcomponents individually or as groups. In this workshop, we will explain how to manage Agile data lakehouses by taking you through 8 slides summarized as follows. First, we will explain what an Agile data lakehouse is. Second, we will describe each of the major components of a data lakehouse. Third, we will give a view of the layers of a data lakehouse's architecture. Fourth, we will show a way to examine whether each element of a data lakehouse has a different life cycle than other elements. Fifth, we will explain how to group elements of a data lakehouse into a small number of systems. Sixth, we will describe a way to design each system as an organized group of some of the components of your lakehouse. Seventh, we will discuss how to define Agile products for each system that can be put under Agile management. Eighth, and finally, we will describe an example Agile data lakehouse appliance using the Agile Cloud Manager.
Now let's examine what a data lakehouse is. An Agile data lakehouse is a data architecture that combines the following 3 things. A data lake, which is a flexible and scalable place to store unstructured data including things like documents, images, streaming data, and other miscellaneous things that an enterprise can collect in the course of its operations. A data warehouse, which is a highly structured and easily managed central repository for the types of data that get stored in databases. Agile management, which is an iterative way of evolving systems that includes decomposing systems into software-defined functional components, and deploying those components through automation. An Agile data lakehouse is a data architecture that combines these best aspects of data lakes, data warehouses, and Agile management.
To illustrate the components of a data lakehouse, let's begin with the various types of data sources on the left, and then proceed through the various components all the way to the end users of the data lakehouse, which you will be able to see on the right. The numbers will guide us through the components. Number 1 on the slide marks the data sources. Some of the many types of data that can be ingested into a data lakehouse include databases, software as a service, SaaS, data outputs, streaming data from Internet of Things, IoT, appliances and other sources, batch files from legacy technologies like mainframes, image files including pictures, and also scanned images of things like handwritten documents, documents including text documents, word processing documents, spreadsheets, and other artifacts of human work, video files, social media data, and many other types of data sources. Storage is marked by number 2 on the slide. The storage layer includes a data lake and a data warehouse. A central data catalog is number 3 on the slide. The data catalog is a metalayer that enables all the data in the entire data lake to be organized and searched. Your organization creates its own data catalog as a navigable map to all the resources in both the data lake and the data warehouse. A well-organized data catalog enables you to search the unstructured data in the data lake as easily as you can search the structured data in the data warehouse. Number 4 on the slide marks the data cleansing that gets done in the lakehouse. Many of your data pipelines are summarized here. This includes extract, transform, load pipelines. This also includes extract, load, transform pipelines. The transaction layer is marked by number 5 on the slide. The transaction layer is what connects the data catalog with the various applications that end users will employ to connect with the data that is summarized in the data catalog. Integrations between the lakehouse and other tools employed by end users are summarized by number 6 on the slide. The types of tools that can integrate include SQL databases, business intelligence tools, machine learning tools, streaming data consuming applications. Many different types of end users are summarized by number 7 on the slide. The types of users include as many different types of people as there might be in your extended enterprise. These include executives, sales teams, marketing teams, operations teams, human resources teams, financial teams, and other types of users. Number 8 on the slide illustrates that all these different components of the lakehouse need to have quality administration, including enterprise-grade security, data integrity, and performance. Different lakehouse vendors have their own various tools for managing each of the 8 basic types of components of a data lakehouse. Architecture of an Agile, tool-agnostic data lakehouse begins by looking at all these components together as functional units before you even begin to make decisions about which tools to use for each component.
It can also help to look at a data lakehouse as 4 layers that include an ingestion layer, a storage layer, a data management layer, and a consumption layer. The ingestion layer is where many different types of data are ingested into both the data lake and the data warehouse. Different types of automation are employed to do the data ingestion depending on the type of data. For example, streaming data might be ingested using tools like Kafka. Batch files might be ingested by scheduled jobs. Other types of data might be ingested using other types of tools. The storage layer is where all the many different types of data will be housed. The storage layer can be partitioned so that it will be clear how close each partition is to being ready to be consumed. For example, there might be a raw data partition, a trusted conformed partition, an enriched data partition, and a modeled data partition. The data management layer is where all the computing work gets done. This includes running the many pipelines that transform and write data into the different partitions during the work of discovery, cleaning, processing, monitoring, serving, and archiving. The data catalog is part of the data management layer. All the governance and security get done at the data management layer. The consumption layer is what many different types of user groups use to interact with the curated unified data store. Each of these various types of user groups utilizes its own types of tools based on their skill sets and based on their needs.
An Agile data lakehouse needs to have each of its components managed separately and deployed separately, while remaining part of an integrated, testable, whole. The architecture therefore must consider the different life cycles of each of the different components. You can start to identify the different life cycles if you examine 3 main things. The function that is performed by each element, the people who are involved with each element, the workflows that interact with each element. You can do this exercise by creating a table that lists each element of the data lakehouse in the left column. Then write the function of each element in a second column. Then write the types of people who interact with each element in a third column. And then list the workflows that interact with each element in a fourth column. You can map out the steps in each workflow separately. When you examine all of the elements, functions, people, and workflows together, you will be able to see how you can most effectively group elements into subcategories that can best be managed together.
A data lakehouse is complex enough that it can include several different systems. Each system in your data lakehouse can best be defined in a way that has clear functionality, life cycle, and building blocks. It can help to think of your data lake appliance as a core system with several satellite systems. The core system might include things that are shared by all the other systems. For example, your core system might include storage and IAM roles, among other things. And each satellite system might define a functional unit that interacts directly with the core system to do specific things. A satellite system might correspond with a specific user group that does specific functions that can be grouped together as a coherent whole. Building blocks refer to the third-party infrastructure templates that the Agile Cloud Manager orchestrates.
The Agile Cloud Manager's simple templating language makes it very easy for you to organize the components of each system into units that can be deployed and operated on individually. Several different types of services might be included in each system. The types of services can each do very different, but yet complementary things. There might be multiple different instances of each type of service in a given system. Each instance of each type of service might be instantiated using different parameters, so that each instance of each type of service might be designed to behave differently from the other instances. One example might be if you have different instances of the same type of service running in different regions. An optional foundation can also be defined for each of your systems. The foundation is intended to provide shared resources that are used by multiple different types of services. Networking is one example of something that might best be defined in a shared foundation. The various types of services might each be deployed into the same network, and that same shared network would best be defined in a shared foundation.
Agile product management can enable your organization to manage the evolution of each element of your data lakehouse separately and as a group of distinct entities, so that your organization can evolve more effectively. 4 layers can organize each of the new Agile products that you can define. These layers include: 1 lakehouse appliance product that manages the entire appliance. Several system products which each manage one of the systems in the appliance. Many different service type products, which each manage one of the types of services in a given appliance. Many building block products, which each manage one of the third-party templates that gets orchestrated by a service type or by a foundation of a system. These third-party building blocks are written for third-party tools like CloudFormation, Terraform, Azure Resource Manager, etc. Each of your new Agile products can get all the individual attention it needs, including dedicated schedules for creation, update, and deletion. Ongoing requirements gathering. Architecture that has the benefit of your architectural governance procedures. Work items that are managed within your Agile framework.
A working example of a software-defined data lakehouse appliance is available in the Marketplace section of agilecloudinstitute.io. You can seed your Agile Data Lakehouse program with this working example. The example data lakehouse appliance is composed of 3 systems. A core system, which contains shared elements for your entire lakehouse. A data engineer system, which builds upon the core system, adding items specifically for data engineers. And a data scientist system, which also builds upon the core system, but which adds items specifically for data scientists. Each of the systems in the example lakehouse appliance includes its own foundation, composed of shared elements, and service types, each of which performs specific operations. Every aspect of the example data lakehouse appliance is software-defined, meaning that nothing will remain after you destroy each instance of the lakehouse appliance. Every level defined in the example lakehouse appliance can be orchestrated with its own CLI deployments that perform create, update, delete CRUD operations on each level. You can learn about the CLI commands and about the object model in the engineering section of agilecloudinstitute.io. The next steps after reading this article include: contact us for technical support or consulting. Connect with the architect of Agile Cloud Manager on LinkedIn to be invited to events and to answer your questions. Do the hands-on training for the free example data lakehouse in the Marketplace section of agilecloudinstitute.io. Do a proof of concept POC of Agile Cloud Manager in your organization using the Data Lakehouse example appliance as an initial seed to accelerate the start of your project. We can provide consulting and technical support to make your POC experience easier.